15 minutes to complete your presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to whole the YPF team and chairpersons for allowing me to present this paper. So my topic would be risk mitigation strategies and sustenance of transfusion services during COVID-19 pandemic. So this is our medical college and glimpse of our department. We cater almost about 400 to 450 thalassaemic children and oncology care and cardiac care. And our annual collection of the blood ranges between 25,000 to 3,000 collection of blood units. So moving on to COVID-19 pandemic. So we all know that COVID pandemic affected almost every area of our life. Globally, it affected almost every infrastructure, but healthcare system faced the highest proportion of the challenges. So transfusion network being one of the emergency services was also hampered. So talking about the transfusion services in India, we have almost about 3,000, more than 3,000 licensed blood centers, but the system is very decentralized, unorganized and fragmented. Adding on to this, we have a less number of voluntary donors than it should be there. According to the NBTC meeting November 2018, from 2017 to 2018, there were 78% of the blood collection was from voluntary blood donor. Rest was replacement. So the number of voluntary blood donors is already less. So during this pandemic, when the nationwide lockdown was there in March, we were hit very badly. First of all, the donors were less. And on the contrary, there was high load of chronically transfused recipients, which were pooling into the tertiary centers because of either the shutdown or in unavailability of the blood in the peripheral centers. This was a challenge, and there was a nationwide disruption of the transfusion service due to this COVID-19. So whenever a problem arises, obviously we need to plan. So we need to identify the areas of the problem, and we have to opt the mitigation strategies so that we can tackle that issue. So that's what we did. We focused on 4 main areas first of all, starting with the demand and supply chain, then donor and staff safety, judicial management of consumables, and convalescent plasma drive. So this must be very familiar to all of you because all blood centers adopted these policies. So coordination of donor and demand and supply chain. So when the lockdown, so first of all, I would just like to point that this study was done, the observations were made from January to September. Then when the lockdown was set in place, we predicted that there is going to be a scarcity of the blood. So general hospital community as well as public was made aware of the scarcity of the blood and blood components by either social platforms, by digital media, and by the written media. So NGOs were contacted, the donors were requested to come forward, the healthy donors, to tackle the problem of the scarcity. The new operational policies, they were set by regular hospital transfusion committee meetings with the local government. And the newer policies were discussed, like interregional exchange of blood components wherever the surplus supply is there, and how to manage the indoor mini camps. So then regarding the transfusions, every transfusion, all the transfusion orders were strictly evaluated for their appropriateness. And further meeting with the clinical teams was set up wherever appropriate. Clinicians were educated and they were sensitized regarding the patient blood management. And there were discussions regarding this restrictive transfusion strategies and even the transfusion alternatives. Then regarding the donor and the staff safety, COVID universal precautions were taken. The infection, there were regular meetings and there were regular seminars by our hospital infection control committee and according to the government guidelines. Various checkpoints were introduced to enter the premises. There were mandatory wearing of the masks, hand sanitization booths were installed, temperature screening. Then in the donor areas and waiting areas, spacing was done. Physical barriers were installed wherever the blood bank staff was facing the general public, and frequent fumigation of the donor areas was there. Then stringent screening measures were regarding COVID-19 were put in place. The COVID-19 exposure questionnaire were added. There was tracking of the post-donation development of any COVID-19 system. The donors were requested to report any symptoms occurring within the 14 days of donation, but the response rate was low. But still, we discarded around 5 units because the donors they developed the COVID-19 symptoms, as the transfusion, the transmission was not clear. Regarding the staff safety, as we already had a shortage of staff because we were sharing the COVID duties with the other hospitals, so there were the work schedule was organized with minimal number of healthy staffs. The PPE was provided according to the government guidelines. And there were SOPs were made regarding the handling and discard of the COVID positive samples and return bags, and disinfection of the working spaces where COVID samples were handled was ensured. Regarding the consumables, judicial management of consumables was ensured. They were pre-ordered, the reagents which the more shelf life, the blood bags, they were pre-ordered to tackle the scarcity, and the shifting from the gel testing to the tube testing was there, from automation to the manual testing whenever the reagents were less. So regarding the convalescent plasma drive, our center also participated in the convalescent plasma drive. There was effective communication was made with the government officials regarding the data of the recovered COVID-19 patients. But most of our convalescent plasma donors were either recovered hospital staff or the government officials, especially the police officers. So transportation services was also provided. There was specified area designated for the collection, and the participation in the trial was also there. So these are the journal areas which we focused. And so what did we achieve through it? So as we know, the transfusion services cannot be hampered even during this pandemic. So we were able to sustain these uninterrupted service during this outbreak of pandemic. And awareness and training efforts by our infection control committee and their regular training that awarded us with 0 infection rate among the blood bank staff. We also provided convalescent plasma to the physicians as a treatment modality. So regarding the how did it affected our regular normal blood bank work? So we can see from the period January to September, comparison was done in between 2019 and 2020. So we can see a decline in the collection as well as the supply. There was 14.71% less donors compared to 2019. The number of donors was 16,230, wherever in 2019 it was 20,270. It was still September. Most of the component which was transfused was PRBCs, followed by FFP. And the thalassemia and oncology, as I told, those were multi-transfused. The toll was higher in that area, followed by emergencies. Regarding the apheresis procedures, 830 platelet apheresis were done, 9 plasma apheresis, 25 convalescent plasmas, 12 plasma exchanges, and 9 peripheral blood stem cell harvest were done till September. Regarding the discard rate, it went high during the months March and April due to either cancellation of the active surgeries and the less number of oncology patients were there. So, but slowly the discard rate went down as there was the inventory management was better. Most of the components which were discarded were platelet concentrates followed by whole blood. Donor deferral rate also, it went down in the 2020 during the outbreak, but the TTI percentage was slightly high for HCV and hepatitis B. Adverse transfusion reaction rate was also less in 2020. So what the conclusion is that, as I have already discussed, that transfusion services are the most crucial part of the healthcare system. And these services, as these are emergency services, they cannot be hampered, they cannot be suspended. So even in the outbreak. So planned approach by incorporating the infection control and inventory management along with the awareness of the hospital and the public can help in smoothing the function of the services. So by sharing the knowledge, as we are approaching state-wise, as our state is now approaching almost third wave of the COVID-19. So sharing such type of experiences and can help in developing consensus and evolving publications which will help the transfusion services and hospitals in our country and other countries at different stages of pandemic. So we are in this together and we will get through this together. These are the references. Thank you very much.